So on the beginning of our packet, we've looked at graphing, we've looked at substitution, and today we're going to start looking at elimination. All right, so we've looked at graphing is good when both equations are in that y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form. We've looked at, and if there's a graph available, which we know there's not always a graph available. Substitution is good to use if one or both equations is in y equals or x equals, or if it's an A or B or C or D equal form, then yes. Or if there's a variable that has a coefficient of 1, okay? So elimination is good to, so when to use, this is good to use, and this is good to use if both equations are in standard form. Now, to remind ourselves of what standard form is, it's going to be ax plus by equals c. Okay, that's our standard form. And we can see these two examples over here are both in standard form. All right, so let's look at this example. So it's just like it implies. We are going to be eliminating something. So we're going to be looking for a way to eliminate a variable. All right, so let's look at which one would be good to eliminate. All right, so before we go on, obviously I'm not here for this lesson. So what I'm going to ask you to do is if you have questions, write them somewhere, and either when I'm here tomorrow or if I come back during your class, then you can ask them. All right, so let's look at this one. So we're looking for something we can eliminate. So we're looking at our x's. We're going to be looking at our y's. And we're going to say, can we eliminate? Well, if I look at these as addition, when I do 15x, and that's a positive 2x, I get 17x. When I have plus 5 minus 5y, these cancel because 5 minus 5 is nothing, is 0. So I'm left, I've been able to eliminate my y's because they both have, they're both the same, but they're opposites. So I have a positive 5 and a negative 5. Both of them are y. I can eliminate those. And since I'm adding these two together, 35 minus 1 is 34. And then I can solve for my x. So divide both sides by 17. And I get x is 2. Well, now that we have one of our variables, it's really easy. We just have to plug that x in and solve for y. Now, it doesn't matter which one we do it, so let's just do the first one because it's the first one there. You can plug it into either one of them, though, once you've done that. So I'm going to plug in my x, so 15 times 2. And I'm going to solve for y. So I get 30 plus 5y. Subtract both sides by 30. Divide both sides by 5. And I get y is 1. And so my solution is 2, 1. And we could plug both of those in there and we could test them and we could see that they would be true for both of them. All right, so let's go ahead and flip to section 10.4 on elimination. I'll give you a second to get there. All right, so some of these are going to be really easy to find an elimination, and some of them we're going to have to do a little work for. We can see that we can't cancel our x's because they're not the same, but we can cancel, we have a positive y and a negative y. So those cancel each other, they eliminate each other. So once I do that, I'm left with 8x on the left, and 12 plus 4 is 16. Divide both sides by 8. and I get x equals 2. Again, it doesn't matter which one I go back to. I'm just going to go back to the first one. So 5x minus y equals 12. So I'm going to do 5 times 2 minus y. So 10 minus y equals 12. Subtract 10. Negative y equals 2. So y equals negative 2. So the solution to this one is 2, negative 2. And we could go to our calculators and test them out. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do 5 times x. X is 2. Minus negative 2 equals 12. And I get that one's true. So I'm going to check my next one. 3 times x, which is 2, plus my y, which is negative 2, equals 4. And that one's true. So it worked for both. So it is my solution. All right. So do you see that? All right. Let's look at number 2. So I do have a 6 and a 6, but they can't cancel because they're not opposites. Because if I add these together, I would get 12. And that's not what I want. And my 7s can't cancel. And my D's can't cancel. That's 7 and D. So what I'm going to have to do is change one of these so that I can cancel. Okay? So it's a really easy change. You might have been thinking even, hey, if that one was negative, this would work. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to change this one to a negative. So I'm going to multiply the entire thing times negative 1. Now you know, if I multiply the left, I have to multiply the right. So I'm going to distribute this out. So this becomes negative 6c. I'm going to add a line change sign. That's going to be a negative 2 times negative 1. So I'm going to have a plus 2d. And that's going to be negative 12. So I no longer have this equation. And now I could cancel this and this. So when I do that, 7d plus 2d is 9d. 9, the letter D. Negative 15 plus negative 12 or minus 12 is negative 27. Divide both sides by 9. And D is negative 3. Go back to my equation. I have 6c plus 7d equals negative 15. So 6c plus 7 times that d, which is negative 3, is negative 15. 6c plus negative 21, negative 15. Add 21 to both sides. Divide both sides by 6. And c is 1. And again, I could go plug it in if I want to. And make sure that it works. I'd plug into the original one, not into my new one. Just to make sure. Yeah. All right. So my solution to this first one was 2, negative 2. My solution here is D equals negative 3, C equals 1. Can't write it as a coordinate because it's not X and Y. Now at this point, if you need to pause to get this copied down, raise your hands, and if the teacher could pause the video real quick. All right, so hopefully by now you have gone ahead and gotten these so far. I want you to try number 3. So what I'm going to do is I want you to go ahead and try it to begin with. But I'm going to get you started a little bit. So I can see that my m's are not the same. So that's not going to work out really well. But I can see that my n's are very close. Okay, so I'm going to say let's change the second one. That way we're all on the same page. All right, so go ahead and work on it. Teacher, you don't have to pause because I'll just wait a while. If you are stuck for some reason, you're wanting one of those 12s to be a negative version, and we decided to flip the second one. All right, so even if you're not finished, let's go ahead and look at it, okay? So I'm going to multiply this whole one by -1. Now, some of you, knowing y'all, you have the question, well, what if it's not that pretty? What if those numbers have nothing to do with each other? And that's actually what we're going to be looking at tomorrow is we're going to be looking at what happens when they're not. So let's look. So this is going to change to -5m. It's going to change to -12n. That's going to change to a +1. Now, I like to then scratch that out because I no longer have that one. But I do use that one to check my work, so I don't want to scratch it out so much. But some people like to rewrite both equations, and that's fine. So let's look. 8m minus 5m is 3m, and I do subtraction because it's a -5. My n's canceled, and I'm left with 20 and a 1, which is 21. Divide both sides by 3, and m equals 7. So now let's look. I'm going to plug it back into my equation. So 8m, I like to rewrite my entire equation so I don't make any mistakes. So 8 times 7 plus 12n equals 20. 7 times 8, 56. Subtract 56 from both sides. Divide by 12. And n equals -3, while m equals 7 is my solution. All right. And then we could plug it in, which we're going to go ahead and plug in because I do want us to get in the habit of checking our work. So 8 times 7 plus 12 times our n, which is -3. And I put my negatives in parentheses all the time just because sometimes the calculator can't read it. It gets true, and I'm going to want to use the original equation to check. So I'm going to do 5 times my m, which was 7, plus 12 times my n, which is -3, equals -1. And I got both of them true, so I know I did it correct. All right, I want you to do number 4, and I want you to check it. So do number 4 and check it. I'm going to give you about 4 minutes, and then let's decide together. Actually, this one doesn't need to be changed, so we're not going to change it. Go ahead and do it and check it. All right, remember, if you are finished, I want you checking on the calculator, plugging those in just to make sure. If you do have questions, if there's some of you in this class that feel confident to answer some questions, I do encourage you to ask. Remember, when you do try some on your own for the assignment, you can't work together for the assignment, but if you have questions now, please ask them. And if one of my students who are doing well and getting these right feel confident, then please answer. Or if the sub feels confident. About one more minute and I'm going to go over it. All right, let's go ahead and look at it. All right, so hopefully we noticed these y's. Sorry, mine's paused. These y's. And so those got canceled. So 4 plus a 2x, because it's a positive, is 6x. Negative 2 plus 26 is 24. Divide by 6, divide by 6, x equals 4. So I'm going to go back to my first or my second one. It doesn't really matter. I usually do the one that looks easier, or just pick the top one. 4 times 4 is 16 minus 3y. So I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. Negative 3y equals negative 18. Divide by negative 3. Y equals 6. I'm going to check this. Hopefully you did also. All right, hopefully you've already checked it, so you already knew. So I'm going to do 4 times my x. My x was 4. Minus 3 times my y, which was 6, equals negative 2. True. And then 2 times my x, which is 4, plus my 3 times my y, equals 26. True. So we did it right. That's a good thing about being able to check it. All right. So the sub is going to now pass out your assignment 10-4. You are going to work on it on your own. If you don't understand a question, just skip it. I will be here for opportunity today. If you just let the sub know that you need help on it at the end of class, they can write it down and I'll get you to come in during opportunity and help you. If not, it is homework due tomorrow. Definitely will be here tomorrow, so any questions you have, I'll be here before school or after school. If you were absent on Monday, yesterday, for any reason, be sure you see me this afternoon sometime, or if I see you before school, I'll catch you. All right. Good luck, guys.